Reborn 10 years after the car accident, Zhu Tingzhi and I broke up with a tacit understanding. In his previous life, he approached me for Liang Yu's sake, watching helplessly as the one he loved ended up with someone else. After all the twists and turns, he made me Mrs. Zhu for 7 years. The first thing he did after being reborn was to get rid of me. He Nyan, let's just call it quits. At that time, he was not yet the Mr. Zhu everyone would later fawn over, but just a male college student applying for a poverty-stricken student scholarship. He was so devoted to love that he didn't hesitate to date his crush's best friend. He regretted it for 10 years because of this. I agree to no longer disturb, it's just that after I was exposed, he urgently looked for me again. What's going on? 1. The bell for the end of class rang. Nyan Nyan, let's go to the cafeteria together. I didn't look at the 10 years younger Liang Yu and packed my backpack by myself. Standing beside her, Zhu Tingzhi parted his thin lips slightly, his gentle watery eyes gazing tenderly at Liang Yu. No need, we'll go ourselves. He Nyan will be very busy recently. He turned his handsome profile, his tone reminding. Right, I remember the cold, detached tone of Zhu Ting's voice that day, leaving no room for anyone. He Nyan, let's part on good terms. This time, I don't want to miss Liang Yu. Indeed, he had regretted it for a full 10 years. He regretted choosing to get close to Liang Yu by starting a relationship with me instead. Early on, I let myself take on the title of someone else's boyfriend. Since I've been given a second chance at life, I absolutely won't let myself do such childish things again. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and said, yeah, Liang Yu, you guys go ahead. He's right, I've been busy with the campus competition lately and still have rehearsals to attend. The mention of the campus competition made Liang Yu's eyes flicker. In my previous life, I held a massive inheritance left by my parents, yet I willingly presented myself as a virtuous wife and mother who struggled alongside Zhu Tingzhi to avoid hurting his self-esteem. I only supported him quietly from behind the scenes. When he rented a place, I lived with him in a basement of just a few square meters, cooking meals every day and waiting for him to come home. Later, when he started his own business, I secretly invested money for him. Back then, he said, He Nyan, it's a good thing I have you. Watching the two figures recede into the distance, I called out to Zhu Tingzhi, wait a moment. Zhu Tingzhi stopped in his tracks and turned to look at me with a hint of impatience. His eyes held a look that said, I knew it. I reached out my hand and spoke under his puzzled gaze. I remember I was the one who topped up your meal card. Since we've broken up, please return the money to me. Zhu Tingzhi was taken aback. He probably forgot at that moment that the future CEO Zhu, who casually spent tens of thousands on a single meal, was still a college student who couldn't afford his own living expenses. Liang Yu would never have imagined that all the things Zhu Tingzhi gave her and every meal he treated her to were paid for with my money. Out of consideration for his pride, I never told Liang Yu the truth about Zhu Tingzhi's situation. I felt sorry for him, so I naturally transferred money to his meal card. Whenever the three of us ate together, Zhu Tingzhi was the one who paid. Liang Yu never paid for anything. Like Zhu Tingzhi, she was applying for a poverty-stricken student scholarship. Sure enough, Liang Yu frowned slightly and cast a faint glance at Zhu Tingzhi. That single glance made Zhu Tingzhi's neck flush red. Liang Yu always carried herself with a light, understated demeanor. This subtle elegance earned her flattering titles like goddess and campus belle. I used to genuinely believe she was free from worldly desires, and countless times I offered her everything I had. Now that I think about it, I can't help but curse myself for being a huge idiot. He looked at me deeply and placed the meal card in my palm. He Nyan, we're even now. The cold card, like my heart at this moment, didn't hurt but was deeply unsettling. Liang Yu looked at me, hesitating to speak. Nyan Nyan, do you want to think it over again? I looked at her. I will never forget the day of my wedding anniversary with Zhu Tingzhi. When Liang Yu barged into our home with a child in front of everyone, she knelt before me, begging me not to tear them apart. The 3-year-old child rushed over crying and hit me. The bad woman who stole her father. And Zhu Tingzhi only said one thing about Liang Yu's existence. The child is mine. I always liked Liang Yu from the beginning. You've taken her place for so many years. It's time to give it back to her. betrayed by my best friend and the person closest to me. They taught me the most painful lesson of my life. Zhu Tingzhi believed until his death that I had taken Liang Yu's place, that I had squeezed into the upper-class circle by riding on his coattails, and that he had never looked up to me. Now I am returning Liang Yu's position to her, too. Like me, Zhu Tingzhi lost both of his parents. The difference is that I am the only surviving descendant of the He family, carrying a vast fortune. He was truly poor, so poor that he had to earn his own tuition to attend university. I set up a generous scholarship in our department specifically to prevent him from having to take odd jobs outside. Zhu Tingzhi was a top student, earning tens of thousands in scholarships every year. Combined with student loans, he had no need to work part-time after graduation. I encouraged him to start his own business, quietly providing him with financial support in various ways, which eventually led to his success as CEO Zhu. Yet, he ended up getting together with Liang Yu, who had returned from abroad after a divorce. This time he wants to live his own life. And I want to live mine too. I took out my phone and dialed the number I knew by heart. Feng Jun. I agree to the engagement. Before my parents left, they were afraid I would be bullied if I were alone. So they arranged the marriage between me and the Feng family. It's just that I didn't like Feng Jun before, so naturally, I kept my distance. Now I think being with Feng Jun isn't so bad either. At least in my previous life, Feng Jun never got married and had no women around him, which was quite clean. 3. Within a few days, the news of my breakup with Zhu Tingzhi had spread throughout the school. He became one of the many pursuing Liang Yu. Where Liang Yu is, Zhu Tingzhi is there. His love passionate and direct. Under the dormitory building, Zhu Tingzhi's tall figure was dappled by the light filtering through the tree shadows. Feng Tiantian cautiously looked at me. Nyan Nyan, you'll definitely find a man more handsome and talented than Zhu Tingzhi in the future. I tried to curl the corner of my mouth but said nothing. They all say Zhu Tingzhi has taken a liking to Liang Yu and dumped me. Now I have to endure everyone's sympathetic looks in class every day. Apart from feeling a bit uncomfortable at first, I've now managed to act as if I don't notice it at all. Suddenly, a shy boy popped out from the side. Hey, Nyan. This is for you. I looked at the box of imported chocolates in the boy's hand. It was expensive, with beautiful packaging, but I knew it wasn't for me. It was for Liang Yu. Everyone knew that Liang Yu and I were inseparable best friends. Everyone who pursued Liang Yu liked to send her things through me first. It wasn't until after graduation, at a class reunion, that I realized how bad my reputation was. People said I was dating several people at once and loved taking advantage to gain benefits. Liang Yu knew all about it but accepted everything without a guilty conscience, enjoying the material benefits while maneuvering among them. I can't help you deliver things anymore, you'll have to give them to Liang Yu yourself. He made the boy blush with embarrassment. Just then, Liang Yu came down from the dormitory. Zhu Tingzhi looked solemn. Nyan, what nonsense are you talking about? When did Liang Yu ever accept anything from him? Liang Yu was the pure goddess of the college and had never been close to any boy. He felt as if something he cherished was being coveted, and it made him very uncomfortable. Oh, really? In his heart, Liang Yu was like an untouchable, pristine moonlight. How could she possibly do such a thing? Liang Yu, you haven't accepted anything from other boys, have you? Liang Yu said lightly. Nyan Nyan, I know you're feeling down after breaking up with Zhu Tingzhi. I don't blame you. Her entire demeanor radiated magnanimity, as if saying, I won't hold it against you. I replied even more indifferently than her. The most expensive phone in your hand was given by him. The earphones were from Zhong, the senior from the School of Economics and Management. Oh, and he also sent you flowers for a week. But you said flowers weren't practical, so he switched to a box of Drio lipsticks in the shade of bean paste. All of these were handled by me. Weren't all those given to you by your admirers over the years? Feng Tianti adjusted her glasses, her eyes sparkling with gossipy curiosity. I shook my head. They were all for Liang Yu. I gave them all to her. Liang Yu was no longer acting indifferent now. I thought you were the one who gave these to me. I sneered and asked Feng Tiantian. Do you believe what she said? Feng Tiantian raised her hand, definitely not believing it, but Zhu Tingzhi was glaring at her from the side, so she could only cautiously rub her nose and say, Perhaps it's a misunderstanding on Liang Yu's part, Zhu Tingji said. You accepted someone else's things yourself and then blamed Liang Yu for it. He Nyan. Is this amusing? My numb heart ached for a moment and wavered. What's wrong with you? Zhu Tingji came over to help me up, his brows furrowed so tightly they could crush a mosquito. I snapped back to reality and withdrew my hand. If you don't believe me, I can only call Senior Zhong and confront him with this classmate. If you still don't believe me, I can find even more people. I looked at Liang Yu's clenched fist and said slowly, I have their contact information. Every time Liang Yu accepted something, I reported it to them. Do you want me to call them right now? I made a move to reach for my phone. Enough, He Nyan. You're just jealous that Liang Yu is more popular than you, you're jealous that she's prettier than you, and your jealousy makes you look really ugly. I heard Feng Tiantian gasp. After Zhu Tingji lost both his parents, he became more mature in his actions and would never embarrass someone in public like this, in front of others. He always maintains the demeanor of a gentle academic achiever, but there is only one thing. Whenever he encounters Liang Yu, it always stirs his emotions. I thought we were in the same boat, that I was helping him through each difficulty, but in reality, it was only because he had no better choice at the time. I closed my eyes, wanting very much to tell him, in Liang Yu's list, he didn't even make the top 10, that is to say, Zhu Tingji transformed into the feared President Zhu. Only after getting divorced did Liang Yu truly look at him. Back in those years, the two of them secretly dated behind my back, enjoying their love, and I always acted like an ordinary wife, telling him to drink less, not to smoke, and forcing him to go for health checkups. I would nag endlessly, repeating the same things I had said countless times over and over again. How many times have I looked back and wondered if Zhu Tingji, while enjoying romantic moments with Liang Yu, felt utterly impatient when receiving my repeated reminders to take care of his health and look after himself. I never told Zhu Tingji that a large part of what he considered his successes were actually due to my efforts behind the scenes. It's about a man's pride. Especially since Zhu Tingji is someone I hold dear in my heart, I am more than willing to nurture a boy into an outstanding man. But this man should not be taken by someone else once he has matured. He betrayed me, and in the end, he even tried to pin the label of jealousy on me. I think it's necessary to make him face reality. Zhu Tingji, what right do you have to stand up for Liang Yu? Ignoring his suddenly cold expression, I pulled Feng Tiantian away. He seems to have forgotten that Liang Yu wouldn't even look at him at this time. 5. Perhaps my words stirred something in his heart, as Zhu Tingji hadn't waited for Liang Yu downstairs for quite some time. Liang Yu had also been busy preparing for the school's campus competition lately and didn't pay much attention to Zhu Tingji. To encourage everyone, the school specifically stipulated that the champion would receive a 10,000 yuan cash prize. I'm not participating in the competition for the 10,000 yuan, but Liang Yu really needs that money. It was through this competition that Liang Yu gained a bit of fame, and with that little bit of fame, she managed to attract quite a few talented young men. I was preparing to go on stage to play the piano, and coincidentally, Liang Yu also chose to play the piano. I ran into Liang Yu in the school's piano room. After finishing the piece, I turned my head and saw Liang Yu at the door. She looked a bit pale and smiled. Nyan Nyan, I didn't expect you to play so well. I closed the piano and started packing my things. Is that so? I'm just a little better than you. Seeing that I was about to leave, Liang Yu stopped me. Nyan Nyan, could you please not participate in the competition this time? I know you're competing with me because of Zhu Tingji, but you can't blame me. He's the one who insists on clinging to me. I really wanted Zhu Tingji to see what Liang Yu looks like right now. Is she still the goddess in his memory? My participation in the competition has nothing to do with Zhu Tingji. You're right, who he likes is none of your business, but it's also none of mine. I don't want to say another word to her. From the moment she started coveting my marriage and my love, there was nothing left for us to talk about. I just underestimated Liang Yu's determination to stop me from participating in the competition. A summer thunderclap roared, signaling another thunderstorm. The rain had already soaked his hair. Why are you here? I held the umbrella over his head, but my instinctive action made Zhu Tingji step back. He Nyan, what will it take for you to give up on the competition? I bit my lip and looked at him indifferently. Why should I give up? Zhu Tingji turned his face away. If you can give up this competition, I'll agree to go on a date with you. If you want more, that's not impossible either. I looked at him in disbelief. Shocked by the words coming from his mouth, Zhu Tingji, you truly disgust me. I never want to live with Liang Yu again and have decided to move out of the dorm. The housekeeper, along with others, efficiently packed my belongings. Feng Tiantian stood by with her mouth agape. He Nyan. Are all these your family's housekeepers? I nodded, took off my glasses, and started putting on my makeup. Zhu Tingji doesn't like it when I dress in bright colors. He prefers the plain and simple look like Liang Yu. Unfortunately, I happen to have a look that's 5 parts charming and 7 parts enchanting. Dressing plainly makes me look like a carnivorous enchantress who's been malnourished from a lifetime of vegetarianism. Zhu Tingji says I'm not as pretty as Liang Yu. He must be blind. Liang Yu returned to the dorm and was momentarily stunned when she saw the completely transformed me. Nyan Nyan, what are you doing? I changed into my own branded clothes. Nothing much, I just don't feel like playing along anymore. I'm moving back home, Feng Tiantian said enviously. Liang Yu, you don't know. He Nyan's family has 8 housekeepers and bodyguards. My dear young lady was actually right beside me all along. She sweetly rushed over. He Nyan, if you become rich and noble, don't forget me. Don't forget the me who used to eat melons with you back in the day. I smiled, pulled out the LV bag I brought from home, and handed it to her. This is for you. Do you like it? I like it. I like it. I really like it so much. Liang Yu's eyes were inscrutable. In the past, I would have given her anything I had. Returning to my long unvisited home, I threw myself onto the bed. No need to pretend to be poor. No need to worry about Zhu Tingji's financial situation. Just focus on enjoying life. I must have been out of my mind back then. Feng Tiantian posted on her moments. Thanks for the gift, my dear, more. The accompanying picture is the bag I gave her. I silently liked the post along with everyone else. 5. The butler acted faster than I expected. Not long after, the school issued a notice that the annual scholarship for the computer science department had been cancelled for someone like Zhu Tingji, who relied on scholarships to pay tuition and cover living expenses. This was undoubtedly a troublesome matter. He had no choice but to start working part-time again to earn his tuition. After confirming my relationship with Feng Jun, he gradually started appearing in my circle of friends. Zhu Tingji called and said, I heard you're with Feng Jun now. No comment. He Nyan, you don't need to use him to make me angry. It's pointless. I hope you'll think carefully and not do these ridiculous things. I remembered Feng Tiantian saying that Zhu Tingji got into a fight with someone over Liang Yu. You mind your own Liang Yu. My business is none of your concern. With a click, she hung up the phone. That day, Feng Tiantian sent a message. Zhu Tingji is working part-time at a Western restaurant. Guess what? He saw Liang Yu having a meal with a man from outside the school, and they were reportedly acting very intimate. Zhu Tingji rushed over and started a fight with the man. Don't you think he's crossing the line? Liang Yu isn't even his girlfriend. Why does he need to get so worked up? But I understand Zhu Tingji. Liang Yu gave birth to a daughter for Zhu Tingji. He has long considered Liang Yu as his woman, so of course he can't accept her being ambiguous with other men. However, Liang Yu is a very ambitious girl, determined to make progress. At this stage, Zhu Tingji simply did not meet Liang Yu's expectations. Liang Yu only showed him a friendly face when she needed to use him. On the day of the campus competition, Zhu Tingji stayed by Liang Yu's side. He looked exhausted with heavy dark circles under his eyes, and his shirt was slightly disheveled. I noticed with sharp eyes that his shirt had already started to fray. It seems his life hasn't improved since I left. His gaze met mine for a second before shifting to Feng Jun beside me. Feng Jun and I caused a small commotion when we appeared, and he quickly noticed Zhu Tingji's unusual behavior. Feng Jun glanced at me, his eyes holding a silent warning. Paid point, 6. Feng Tiantian waved at me, her eyes sparkling with the familiar gleam I knew so well. Waiting for me to sit beside her, she gave herself a thumbs up. My words must be blessed. I said you'd find a man more handsome and talented than Zhu Tingji, and sure enough, you found one right away. I winked at her. Thanks to you. On the stage, Liang Yu was wearing a white long dress, her smooth long hair flowing behind her, which perfectly matched her goddess image. After the song ended, applause erupted from the audience. Zhu Tingji stood near the stage, hands in his pockets, quietly watching her. I don't know who arranged my performance to be right after Liang Yu's. After Liang Yu stepped off the stage, her gaze swept past me indifferently as she walked toward Zhu Tingji and linked arms with him. I lowered my gaze slightly, expressionless. Feng Tiantian whispered softly, "Nyan Nyan, don't let her affect you." I smiled faintly. By this point, Zhu Tingji could no longer stir my emotions. I walked onto the stage, passing by Zhu Tingji as we crossed paths. "He Nyan, I stand still," he said, "you simply can't play the piano well. Why humiliate yourself?" I looked at Liang Yu with a half smile. "So this is what you told him, that I can't play well, and had him stop me from going on stage. It's not Liang Yu's fault. She was just concerned about you, afraid you'd embarrass yourself in front of everyone. Is that so? Thank her for me." "But I don't need it." I turned and walked onto the stage. I didn't even glance at Liang Yu's hypocritical face. A Croatian rhapsody flowed from my fingertips. This powerful and emotional piece not only expresses the hope of the Croatian people after the war but also represents my determination to leave the past behind and embrace a new life after my rebirth. Until the last note was pressed, the entire hall fell silent. A few seconds later, thunderous applause erupted, and under the stage lights, my beauty was dazzling and flawless. I heard someone in the audience whistle and Feng Tiantian cheering and jumping up and down. A scorching gaze pierced through the layers of the crowd and landed on me. I looked back, and Feng Jun's handsome face was beaming with unrestrained joy amidst the crowd. I undoubtedly won the championship. 7. After the lively commotion, I saw Feng Jun off. As the campus competition came to an end, the campus, after all the wild fun, had a sorrowful hue like the lingering glow of sunset. Zhu Tingji's excited voice drifted over with the wind. "Liang Yu, why don't you believe me at all?" "How can I believe you? You keep saying you love me, but your eyes are always on other women. And what about you? Aren't you also juggling several men? What do you take yourself for?" Liang Yu's voice carried a rare trace of agitation for the first time. "What choice do I have? My brother's treatment costs 300,000. Can you give me 300,000? If you can, I'll cut ties with all other men immediately and never see them again. Can you do that?" A brief silence fell. Just when I thought Zhu Tingji would agree, I heard his deep voice say, "Liang Yu, don't push me. No one forced you. From the beginning to the end, I never asked anything of you." "You didn't. What did you say when you tearfully begged me to persuade He Nyan not to participate in the competition? Have you forgotten? Zhu Tingji, you still claim you don't have feelings for He Nyan, seeing how beautiful she looked today. Are you regretting it now?" After the two of them left, I remained seated in the same spot for a long time. So that's how the 300,000 came about. In his previous life, Zhu Tingji had gone to borrow from loan sharks. I only found out when they came to collect the debt and almost broke one of his hands, but no matter how much I asked, I couldn't find out what he used the money for. I ended up paying off his debt for him, lying that I borrowed from friends, and settled the matter. So the 300,000 was given to Liang Yu. However, none of this has anything to do with me anymore. Whether Zhu Tingji wants to take out high-interest loans like in his previous life is his own choice. Time passed slowly. After the campus competition, I became famous at school, and my name gradually started to be labeled as the campus belle. People began sending me flowers, and I was approached by others at school, but I turned them all down. When Feng Tiantian hesitantly told me that people at school were joking about me still thinking of Zhu Tingji, I immediately posted on my social media about my engagement to Feng Jun. The next second, it was posted by Feng Jun on a social platform. As he was already a public figure, it quickly spread to the school. Lately, the way Liang Yu looks at me has been filled with hidden daggers. Thinking back, the only man Liang Yu ever praised was Feng Jun, the male idol who was a few years ahead of us. Even his resume was gilded, a proud son of heaven, backed by the Feng family, sharp-tongued, witty, and indifferent to women. Wasn't he exactly Liang Yu's ultimate goal, but how could someone like Feng Jun have any connection with Liang Yu? She was just daydreaming. Nyan Nyan, are you really with Feng Jun? Didn't you always like Zhu Tingji? Oh, I don't like it now, she blurted out. Then where did Zhu Tingji's money come from? I snapped back to reality and carefully observed her. Only then did I realize that compared to her anxious expression from some time ago, she had become indifferent again. It doesn't take much thought to know that the issues in Liang Yu's family have definitely been resolved. It seems Zhu Tingji still couldn't bear to let Liang Yu suffer. I kindly gave her a direction. I won't give him money. As for where his money came from, you can go ask him yourself. Liang Yu was speechless. She's not stupid. Zhu Tingji, a college student who even has to earn his own tuition, suddenly gave her 300,000 yuan. What price was paid? I'm afraid even Liang Yu dare not dwell on it. 8. As my senior year approached, I gradually withdrew from campus life and started working at the He Corporation early. In my previous life, only professional agents managed the He Corporation, so I had little to worry about, and once I gradually transferred the He Corporation to Zhu Tingji, I never went to work again. This time, I don't plan to hand over the He family business to anyone. The marriage alliance with He Fengjun is only because he is suitable. I have no intention of transferring the He family business to someone else. Life has been intense and busy. I've been completely immersed in the company every day, and I've lost a lot of weight, but my spirits are getting better and better. Days without revolving around men are quite nice. In my free time, I gossip with Feng Tiantian about our classmates' situations, or learn from Feng Jun how to manage the company. The days slowly pass by. Feng Tiantian said that Zhu Tingji and Liang Yu are together. I just raised an eyebrow, perhaps knowing how Zhu Tingji got that 300,000. Liang Yu also softened. Unfortunately, I guessed wrong again. The day Zhu Tingji cornered me in the cafe, it was pouring rain outside, with dark clouds looming over the horizon, making his figure appear quite desolate. The moment Feng Jun and I met, we unexpectedly ran into Zhu Tingji, and it was surprisingly calm. I looked at Zhu Tingji's furrowed brow and introduced Feng Jun to him. Feng Jun, the future tech tycoon and the sole successor of the Feng family, was also Zhu Tingji's most despised business rival in his previous life. At that moment, Feng Jun's gaze was clear and steady as he nodded at Zhu Tingji without haste. Feng Jun's appearance is no less than Zhu Tingji's, but his personality is rather cold, and his words can make people want to die, which detracts a bit from his handsomeness. However, his exceptional demeanor stands out. When the two of them stand together, Feng Jun is always the first to be noticed. He paused briefly upon seeing Feng Jun and said to me, "Let's talk." I responded non-committally, "No, Feng Jun and I have something to do." Perhaps it was because he had never seen me reject him so directly. Zhu Tingji seemed not to have reacted, and he reflexively said, "I came to find you." Ha! Feng Jun chuckled softly, meeting Zhu Tingji's angry gaze. "That must have been hard for you." Stooping so low, I turned my head to prevent him from seeing the corner of my mouth curl up. I was quite surprised that Zhu Tingji didn't retort. In our previous life, they were always at each other's throats. Zhu Tingji has become more restrained. I sighed. He has changed too. It seems that without a clear explanation, Zhu Tingji won't leave. I said to Feng Jun, "I need to handle some personal matters. Let's call it a day for now." Feng Jun's eyes were deep and unfathomable like a deep pool as he turned and walked away. "Look at that little temper." 9. Zhu Tingji looked at me with an inscrutable expression. "So the rumors are true." I was taken aback. After Feng Jun announced his engagement, I was inexplicably dragged into the spotlight. He was always the center of attention, and now my identity had been exposed along with his. The heiress of the He group. So you're the eldest daughter of the He group. He closed his eyes for a moment. I lazily took a sip of coffee, then looked up and stared directly at him. "What exactly are you trying to say?" He lowered his gaze. "So you've been lying to me all along." I turned my head to look at the sudden rain in the distance. "Yes. I deceived you, and you deceived me. We're even." "How can we be even? What do you want?" Zhu Tingji let out a sigh. "He Nyan, give me another chance." I almost spat out the coffee in my mouth. "Zhu Tingji, you really make me see you in a new light." He looked up, his tone desolate. Liang Yu is not what I expected. Nyan didn't appear to have a trace of feminine gentleness. She was radiant and bold, doing everything with fiery energy. Yet Zhu Tingji knew how precious he had once been to Nyan. All her tenderness had been reserved for him. Liang Yu appeared very feminine on the surface, as clear and gentle as water. Only after spending more time with her did one realize how cold Liang Yu could be. Perhaps he is not the Mr. Zhu who is later adored by everyone. I had the misfortune to witness Liang Yu's heartlessness. He had no money and no value to be used, so Liang Yu left without any hesitation. She still mingled among various men. He had no way to make Liang Yu go with him to sleep in a 10-square-meter basement, nor could he even get Liang Yu to start a business with him. Waiting for him with a prepared meal like Nyan did. When he lived in the basement, he often recalled what he had been thinking at this time in his previous life. At that time, Liang Yu had also taken his money, but since he was Nyan's boyfriend, they naturally weren't together. Zhu Tingji thought, just wait. Wait until he dealt with Nyan. Wait until he could provide Liang Yu with a good life. It was just that at that time. What Zhu Tingji ended up with was Liang Yu flying abroad and marrying a wealthy foreign man. He held his breath in frustration, thinking every day about how to make money and how to get Liang Yu back by his side. As for Nyan, he only needed her at the time. Did you already know the outcome? So you dumped me without hesitation. I stood up. Zhu Tingji, even now you still think it's everyone else's problem. Zhu Tingji suddenly got up and grabbed me. Nyan, you hated Feng Jun. Have you forgotten? I stopped in my tracks. I never hated him. It was you who disliked him back then, so I had to dislike him too. Actually, he was my fiancé, arranged by our families early on. If it weren't for you, our paths would never have diverged. Zhu Tingji, everyone should return to their positions. I am no longer an obstacle between you and Liang Yu. You should be happy that you've gotten what you wished for. 10. The heavy rain continued without ceasing, still falling densely. I didn't call the family driver and was about to hail a taxi myself. An umbrella suddenly covered my head from above, the abundant moisture and the fresh scent of laundry detergent filling my nostrils. Feng Jun held the umbrella without looking at me. I'll walk you back. I didn't refuse. Nyan, let's get married. After saying it, even Feng Jun himself was stunned. Under the umbrella, he seemed like a noble prince who had fallen into hardship. Suddenly carrying the mundane aura of the mortal world, a glimmer gradually brightened in the shimmering gaze. I took him back to the villa. Raindrops trickled down his neck from his hair, and I licked my lips. The next moment, he lifted me into his arms. I buried my face in his chest, blushing as I pointed toward the bathroom. From now on, you're not allowed to think about other men. Feng Jun picked up a strand of hair by my ear and whispered threateningly, you can only think of me. Or I can't guarantee you'll have the strength to look for other men. And then I had no strength left. Feng Jun is a person who is particularly capable of evoking fondness in others. I think as long as he wants to, it's really easy for him to make women fall in love with him. 11. I thought I would never see Zhu Tingji appear in front of me again. Nyan, have you been doing well? I looked at his disheveled clothes that were washed haphazardly, his unshaven beard, and his overall sloppy appearance. I thought we had already made things very clear. There was a pile of cigarette butts scattered around Zhu Tingji's feet, but he never smoked. He smiled bitterly. Liang Yu is gone. So, why did you come to find me? Zhu Tingji suddenly stepped forward, grabbed my hand, and slapped it hard against his own face. I was so startled that I pulled my hand back. Are you crazy? His eyes were frighteningly red as he grabbed my shoulders. Nyan, please forgive me. Let's go back to how we were before. We can start a business together and work hard side by side. You can be my supportive partner. I've finally seen my own heart clearly. I never loved Liang Yu. I was just unwilling to accept it. I've always loved you. My shoulder ached from his grip, and I frowned, letting out a soft cry. Let go of me. You're hurting me. Zhu Tingji seemed to snap back to reality and released his hold on me. But his hands still carefully kept me loosely encircled. Nyan, please say yes. I took a few steps back, my expression darkening as I replied, no, we've already broken up. I won't be with you again. Give up. You're talking nonsense. You love me so much. How could you not change your mind? Nyan Nyan. I've given up on Liang Yu. Do you hear me clearly? I've given up on her, I said angrily. It's you who didn't hear what I said clearly, from the moment you betrayed me. We could never go back. I don't believe it. You wouldn't treat me like this. You do love me. I love you too. Let's start over together. This time, I will definitely treat you well. Zhu Tingji didn't listen to what I was saying at all and insisted that I agree to get back together with him. His expression began to turn frantic. I was somewhat frightened by his frantic expression. I struggled incessantly. 12. Zhu Tingji pulled me along, rushing forward the whole way. Soon, he brought me to an abandoned rooftop. Year after year, I have nothing left. Could you really bear to watch me die? Downstairs is a 5-story abandoned shopping mall. Below, countless steel bars and concrete are piled up, and my heart is in my throat. I didn't dare provoke him any further. Zhu Tingji had completely lost the spirited demeanor he once had. At this moment, he seemed more like a stray dog that no one wanted. Zhu Tingji, calm down. Even without Liang Yu, you can still have a career. Without money, you can earn it again. You have a bright future ahead of you. I am just a passing scenery on your journey. Once it's over, it's over. He let out a miserable laugh, laughing so hard he nearly choked, yet he didn't stop. You don't have to lie to me. I know all my past successes were because you were helping me behind the scenes. I have no future left. Zhu Tingji had calmed down again by now. He walked toward me, and I stepped back fearfully, accidentally kicking over a brick that fell with a clatter and shattered into pieces. Ah! I screamed in fright. Zhu Tingji rushed over and hugged me. Nyan Nyan, don't be afraid, I won't hurt you, you have to believe me. I was so scared that I started crying. Zhu Tingji, let me go, we really can't go back anymore. Feng Jun will find me soon. Zhu Tingji heard that Feng Jun was getting all worked up again. You don't love him at all. You love me, he's just a tool you found to make me jealous because I neglected you. Nyan Nyan, he's tricked you. Have you forgotten how much you used to hate him? No, I shook my head desperately. No, have you forgotten what you said? You said I took Liang Yu's place and asked me to give it back to her. I did as you said, so what are you doing now? Zhu Tingji crouched on the ground in agony, clutching his head. Stop talking. Please stop talking. He reached out and hugged my legs. I'm sorry, Nyan Nyan, can you forgive me just this once? 13. Not good. Feng Jun panted heavily, climbing up from downstairs drenched in sweat, his cold, menacing gaze fixed firmly on Zhu Tingji. Take your filthy hands off her, don't touch her. Zhu Tingji stared at the man before him. A surge of anger rose in his heart. If it weren't for him, Nyan wouldn't have left. If it weren't for him, he would have been able to win Nyan back. Then everything would follow the same path as his previous life. He would achieve fame and success, marry Nyan, but this time, he would never betray Nyan. He would only distance himself from Liang Yu and wholeheartedly devote himself to Nyan. They would have their own children and a blissfully happy life. Nyan would cherish him just as she did in the past. Zhu Tingji felt a crimson haze before his eyes. He rushed forward, wanting only to make this person disappear forever. Feng Jun dodged Zhu Tingji's punch and charged forward as well. Two men were fighting fiercely, as if two males were competing for a mate. Neither of them held back. Feng Jun took a punch to the face, and shortly after, Zhu Ting received a counterpunch to the chin from Feng Jun. I rushed forward and threw myself onto Feng Jun. Zhu Tingji, stop. Unexpectedly, Zhu Tingji stopped. 14. He fell to the ground in a disheveled state. Nyan Nyan, you are truly heartless. I quickly checked the wound on Feng Jun's face, and upon hearing this, I abruptly stood up. Slap. My palm went numb as I slapped Zhu Tingji across the face. He froze, yet I began talking about something completely unrelated. I remember that day when Liang Yu barged into our home. You protected her and took her away. You left me alone in the house, with everyone staring at me. My body was frozen, trembling all over. I thought you would come back that day, that you would explain things to me. But you never did. I waited from dusk till dawn, but there was no word from you. Do you know why I drove out? I looked at Zhu Tingji's stiff face and whispered softly, it was Liang Yu. She sent me photos of you and her together, and I went crazy looking for you. I did find you and got you into the car. But Liang Yu's words kept echoing in my ears, and I was so annoyed, I crouched down and slowly approached him, whispering in his ear, so I stepped on the gas and crashed. I wanted you to die with me. Seeing his gaze fixed dazedly on my face, I smiled and said, now do you still think I can be with you? I stood up and walked towards Feng Jun, pulling him away. A long moment passed. From behind came Zhu Tingji's suppressed, desperate roar. Like a small animal on the brink of despair whimpering from its throat, scattered with the wind. 15. My wedding with Feng Jun was both luxurious and low-key. You know my secret now. Are you afraid of me? My love cannot be betrayed. Be careful, or I might devour you. I was wearing my wedding dress. Smiling as I adjusted Feng Jun's suit, he grabbed my fidgeting little hands. My dear wife, we've signed the prenuptial agreement, and I don't have a single penny to my name, rest assured. There's no one else in the world like you. So eager to save men on the verge of going astray, I glared at him angrily. That day, when he came back, he squeezed every last detail about me and Zhu Tingji out of me. And only let me off after making me write a letter of guarantee 10 times. After that, I was protected by him and never saw Zhu Tingji again. Occasionally, I would hear bits and pieces of information about him from Feng Tiantian. The fact that he had taken out a loan for Liang Yu became known, and facing the huge interest, he had no choice but to work hard to repay the debt. Every day was very busy. Unlike in my previous life, without me to help him out, his hand was broken by someone. Perhaps Zhu Tingji is still the same Zhu Tingji, not a man who is completely useless and only relied on me to get ahead. Maybe in the future he will start a business again, but this time he will have to rely on himself. A few years after marriage, Liang Yu, just like in the previous life, got divorced and returned to the country in disgrace. I heard she went to find Zhu Tingji, but Zhu Tingji refused to see her. The last time I saw Liang Yu, she appeared at the party arm in arm with a man 2 generations older than her. Zhu Tingji was also present at the same time. Using his past life experience, he founded a moderately successful company. Though not as prosperous as in his previous life, it was still quite decent. His name is occasionally mentioned in the news. When someone asked him why he never got married, he would just smile and change the subject. Every time this happened, Feng Jun would be upset for several days, and then inevitably post pictures of us on social media. He still doesn't like Zhu Tingji, always feeling that Zhu Tingji is a ticking time bomb. Just like in their previous lives, neither of them could stand the other. In a corner of the banquet, Zhu Tingji smoked silently, while Liang Yu, pale-faced, had tears streaming down her cheeks, yet she remained strikingly beautiful. But her beauty went unappreciated. Tingji, how have you been all these years? I missed you so much while I was abroad. If my family hadn't needed the money back then, I wouldn't have married and moved overseas. Have you never once thought of me? Accidentally stepping into a tense situation, Feng Jun and I awkwardly came to a halt. Zhu Tingji saw me, smiled, and nodded. Noticing my slightly swollen belly, he silently extinguished his cigarette. Miss Liang, please make yourself at home. He did not disappoint, never once looking directly at Liang Yu from start to finish, and walked right past us. Feng Jun glanced sideways at me, holding me tightly in his arms. He looked as if he were startled by every sound. Liang Yu stared wide-eyed, as if she couldn't believe that Zhu Tingji could so casually treat her like thin air. Meeting my gaze that seemed to smile yet not, he awkwardly turned his head away. I linked arms with Feng Jun and stepped into this world of fame and fortune. My connections with others had already come to an end. It was time for everyone to go their separate ways. The end. That concludes the first story. Stay tuned. The next one is even more exciting. Winter has arrived once again. Every year during this season, my husband and son inexplicably develop an allergic reaction to me, breaking out in red rashes all over their bodies. We simply can't figure out the cause of the allergy. Because of this, they've drawn a clear line with me and moved to another house to live. Even if I fell and bled all over my head, they still didn't come back. Even when I was hospitalized after a car accident, it was still my own battle. We became the most unfamiliar family members, and I would end up killing them. I endured the cold winter alone, waiting in loneliness. hoping for the warm spring to return my sweet family to me, but I accidentally overheard their conversation. "Dad, we only get to see Aunt Shu in the winter every year. Can't we make the allergy season last longer?" Aunt Shu, my husband's childhood sweetheart, my husband ruffled our son's hair. "Taking too much allergy medicine isn't good for you. And Aunt Shu would worry too. Dad will bring you here whenever I have time." My son clapped his hands. "Yay, I love winter mango candies the most, that way. I can see Aunt Shu, mango, the very allergen I had tried so hard to keep my son away from, as it could be fatal to him." After standing in the cold wind for a long time, I silently returned home. The warm spring has returned, and I've put away all my concerns. Eat whatever you like. If you think I'm mistreating my child, you can call the police. I don't want your custody rights. My son wasn't used to me acting like this and stayed silent for a long time. After a long while, he finally tore open the mango candy wrapper. The look of anticipation in his eyes deeply wounded me. He probably thought that by eating it, he could return to his mother Shu's embrace. I had reminded him countless times. The precautions engraved on his school badge were all in vain. Sua Chen rushed over in a hurry and knocked the candy out of his son's hand. "Shiran, why are you so absent-minded today? Our son almost ate the mango candy. He's severely allergic and could easily have an accident." "It's not like you didn't know this." "Yes, I knew. I've been like a clown, avoiding anything related to mangoes. When buying snacks or milk, I scrutinize every single word, afraid that something might slip through the cracks. I told my son over and over again, if anyone gives you a mango, you must not eat it. Understand, otherwise, you'll have to go to the hospital for an injection, and it will hurt so much your bottom will feel like it's blooming." I repeated it tirelessly to the teachers and classmates. "Zishuan is allergic to mangoes. Please pay extra attention. I treat mangoes as if they were a formidable enemy." But that mango candy was given by Sua Chen. It was their pass to see Mother Shu. I composed my expression. "Why does he have mango candy? Shouldn't you be the one to answer that?" A flicker of panic flashed in Sua Chen's eyes before he casually brushed it off and took his son upstairs. They habitually wait for me to prepare a large table of dishes, filled with handmade gifts, celebrating the family's reunion. But this time, there was nothing. The dining table was completely empty. Sua Chen frowned. "Shiran, what's wrong with you today?" Seeing the redness in my eyes, he looked somewhat helpless. "Are you still upset? I will find a way to cure our father and son's condition. It's all because of this allergy-prone winter that made me absent when you needed me the most." My nails dug deeply into my palms. He still remembers. When I was pregnant, my mother was diagnosed with leukemia. Sua Chen wanted to save the child, but I wanted to save my mother. I'm donating my bone marrow, and no one can stop me. No one faced a more difficult choice than I did. I loved my child too. But she was my mother. But mother seemed to have learned the news, and her health rapidly declined. She completely lost the eligibility for a transplant. It was also at that time we found out she hadn't been taking her medication properly. She had given the chance to live to the new life. I gritted my teeth and gave birth. But still, amid the postpartum hormonal fluctuations, I developed depression, especially in winter, when I am left alone. Everything around me seems to scream of melancholy. I just can't seem to be happy, and several times I've thought about ending it all, but then I think of my son. The child I exchanged with that mother hasn't grown up yet, and in the end, I couldn't bring myself to do it. To keep them around, I wrap myself in plastic every year, even wearing a gas mask. But it seems they can't even breathe the same air as me without breaking out in red rashes. And we still can't figure out the cause of the allergy. Sua Chen hurriedly left the house with his son. "Shiran, if you're having an allergic reaction, just endure it a little longer. When spring comes, I'll bring the child back." I couldn't understand it. I kept showering, scrubbing my back until it bled. I masochistically felt this was heaven's punishment for me, crying in the bathtub until I fell asleep. That bitterly painful winter made me suffer so much. It turned out to be just a scam. Chapter 2. I removed Sua Chen's hand and went back to my room alone. My son ended up in the hospital that night. He had greedily eaten mango candy himself. Children can't keep secrets. Even when delirious with fever, they still murmur, "I want mommy." I don't want to go home. Each word felt like a knife. Having just finished asking the doctor about precautions, I nearly lost my balance. I handed the notes I had taken to Suochen and let out a long sigh. Let's get a divorce. And let his mother Shu take care of him. Suochen laughed. You believe what a child says so carelessly. He looked into my eyes and explained, half jokingly and half seriously, you know Shunyenwei too. Since we got married, I haven't had any contact with her. Last time I took our son to see her, the kid probably got his memories mixed up. Seeing her after so long, it's natural for him to feel a bit excited. Before I could react, Shunyenwei rushed over and immediately went to our son. She picked up the child with concern and began scolding me. Siran. How could he be allergic to mangoes? This child is usually so well behaved. Why put him through this suffering? Just a couple of days ago, I was taking care of him and he was plump and fair-skinned. People around stopped one after another. A stepmother is never as close as a biological mother. Poor child. I always said you shouldn't get divorced so casually. Perhaps noticing my gaze was too intense, she quickly explained, Shiran, don't overthink it, I didn't mean it that way. I'm just too worried about the child. Why does she always have to suffer like this? I turned and went to the bathroom, washing my face to calm down. He endured all this suffering just to escape from me and see his beloved mother Shu, from the age of 3 until now. When I returned and was about to enter, the room was filled with laughter and cheerful voices. Dad, I want to stay with Mom a few more days, he called out so affectionately, and Shunyenwei looked even more expectant. Suochen refused without a second thought. No, it was already dangerous for you to come here without warning this time. I've said before that this matter must not be brought before Shiran. Shunyenwei bit her lower lip and acted coquettishly. Just agree this once. I'll make sure to avoid Sister Shiran. I'll leave as soon as I confirm the child is healthy. I only want to see him for 3 months each year, just a few extra days. Suochen stared into her eyes and finally agreed, just this once. I laughed at myself, feeling like a homewrecker who breaks up families. The doctor went in and looked at Suochen, who knew nothing when asked, making the doctor somewhat annoyed. What is the child's past allergy history? What medications has he taken before? What were the most severe symptoms? Haven't you, as parents, paid attention to these things? Shunyenwei twisted her fingers nervously, while Suochen awkwardly sent me a message. At that moment, I pushed the door open and entered. Tell me. I am, whatever, forget it. I explained all the details of my son's condition to the doctor in great detail. After all, I gave birth to him, and I couldn't bear to see him suffer from the illness. Back in the hospital room, Shunyenwei made a move as if to leave. My son looked at me and burst into loud sobs. No, no. I want Mommy Shu. The piercing cries echoed through the hospital room. I knew they were putting on quite a show, all to make me leave and clear the space for them. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I forced myself to hold them back as I looked at my son. All right, I won't come again. Chapter 3. That night, I had a terrible headache, and in my daze, I mistakenly called Suochen. He immediately came back to help me pour water and feed me medicine. Don't blame the child. It's just the novelty wearing off. In a few days, they'll be calling for you again. This is a good chance for you to rest properly. You've lost weight these past few days. He didn't go back to the hospital until he saw that I was feeling much better, but in the following days, I became severely drowsy. Whenever I woke up, my mouth felt bitter, and I had waves of sharp pain in my stomach. I went to the hospital alone. The doctor looked at my expression with confusion. Did you change your medication? Your previous medicine was very effective. Don't change it without good reason. I shook my head. The medication was always with me, still in the same packaging. But when the doctor picked it up and did a quick test, he immediately found something wrong. This is similar to sleeping pills, which you're not tolerant of. Back when you were feeling unwell and couldn't sleep, I prescribed them for you, and you had this same reaction. Now that you don't have any sleep issues. Who gave them to you? I felt almost completely chilled to the bone. The image of Suochen messing with the medicine flashed through my mind, and I could hardly believe it. Suochen was annoyed that I disturbed him last night and, afraid it would happen again, gave me sleeping pills. Just a while ago, Suochen had reminded me, all medicine is somewhat toxic, you must not make a mistake. Now, the best way for me not to disturb is to fall into a deep sleep. I smiled bitterly. My heart feels as if it's being cut open, slice by slice. I went home to sort through my things. I no longer wanted to delay the divorce any longer, while rummaging through my belongings. A Chinese language test paper fluttered to the ground. On it was the teacher's full score comment, "Sincere love, only for Mom, it's wonderful." For a moment, I was lost in thought, remembering when my son first started kindergarten and learned his first song, "Only Mom is the best in the world." I held his hand as we walked home, and he sang in a babbling voice, "Mom, I'll buy you a big house when I grow up. My mom is the best." I picked up the test paper and began to read. My mother and I were like frost on a winter night, only able to form together in the cold, melting away when warmth returned, and so I waited, longing for winter to come early. Every word was filled with love, but none of it was for me. A wave of overwhelming defeat crushed my spirit. After sitting alone for a long time, I stood up, wiped my mother's memorial tablet clean, and held it close to my chest. "Mom, the gift you left me is not good. I'm taking you away. I don't want anyone anymore." The sound of the door lock echoed as Suochen brought his discharged son home. The son was still young and couldn't keep things to himself, continuing to talk about the previous topic. "Dad, another 9 months of this. I have to sit up straight and stand up straight again. Can't eat this, can't eat that, it's really miserable." Suochen tapped his head. "Don't talk nonsense. Mom is doing this for your own good." The son pouted, "But I'm very unhappy, and Mother Shu wouldn't be like this." "So that's how it is." Hearing such words again, I was surprisingly very calm. Those 9 difficult months for him were the time I cherished with all my effort. I was constantly worried and afraid, fearing that the 3-month allergy period would be prolonged. In their eyes, it was a disaster. Suochen, seeing me in the bedroom and thinking I hadn't heard, scolded the child and then brought him over. "Shiran, this kid is just mischievous. It's a good thing you didn't go to the hospital, or your health would have been worn out." Chapter 4. I responded softly. I put my mother's memorial tablet into my bag. I made an excuse about having something to do and took the marriage certificate to see a lawyer, but they recognized it at a glance. The young man comforted me. "This is a fake marriage certificate. We've handled quite a few of these recently. You don't need to get a divorce, and you can even sue the other party for forging the certificate." I am utterly exhausted. My figure so desolate it's beyond words. All these years, I only feel like a clown. I don't even have the right to voice my grievances. The family I cherished is not my family. I even went insane, thinking that the child I risked my life to give birth to was not mine. Only the face looked a bit like mine. How could he do this to me? Before my mother passed away, I became the mistress she despised the most and gave birth to the most hated illegitimate child. When I returned home, Xu Nianwei was here again, and she quickly stood up. "Shiran, you're back. I should be going too. I was just passing by and thought I'd check on how the child is recovering." I stopped her. "No need to leave. There are things that need to be clarified." I took out the fake marriage certificate from my bag, my voice calm yet broken. "I'd like to hear an explanation. I'm like a self-torturing lunatic. What misunderstanding could there be? I've kept it hidden for 6 years, but I just want to hear it." I begged him to fabricate another lie, to tell me the lawyer was lying, that I am his wife. All these years we've been loving and sweet, simple and happy, that allergy was just a curse. I've been kneeling in prayer all these years, and it's almost lifted. Suochen, feeling uncomfortable under my gaze, reluctantly spoke. "Shiran, at that time, Nianwei had some issues and often needed treatment. It was very troublesome without a guardian's signature, so I had no choice. But you didn't think too much about it." My ears went deaf, buzzing incessantly. "I won't listen anymore. I won't listen. Then I don't even have a proper status, so I don't have the confidence to make a fuss." Suochen nudged my shoulder. "Shiran, calm down." But I'm calm enough. I don't understand what he's referring to. I don't even dare to raise my hand. I can't even shout, "Get out, I'm the other woman." Suddenly, I felt a bit like laughing. I'm the one who doesn't belong in this house. I couldn't help but recall how, not long after we got married, he started traveling frequently for work. And it's all thanks to me having a child that they found the perfect excuse, allergies, to leave for a full 3 months every year. They really went through a lot, didn't they? Suochen stared at me blankly. Shiran, please don't be like this. My marriage to Nianwei is a sham and will be annulled. It's just that Nianwei hasn't been in good health these past few years, so I haven't had the chance to take care of it. I'll go and annul it in a few days. Shu Nianwei also came over to apologize. But she knocked over the shelf. As the shelf fell, Suochen grabbed me first, but the next second, he let go and shielded Shu Nianwei. I was knocked to the ground by a shelf, my arm torn open, blood gushing out. Meanwhile, the father and son scrambled to surround Shu Nianwei. Are you hurt anywhere? Does it hurt? You're not in good health. Come on, let's go to the hospital right away. Amidst their concern, I got up alone, supported my bleeding hand, and walked straight out. Sang the love song from our wedding. At that time, our eyes held only deep affection for each other. Let's not see each other again from now on. By the time Suochen turned around, Lin Shiran was gone, leaving only a trail of blood on the ground. He abruptly stood up and ran outside, but only an empty corridor remained. Chapter 5. Suochen returned to the room, and his son looked behind him with confusion. Where's Mom? Suochen couldn't quite describe the feeling in his heart, it just felt strange. Mom went out for something. Dad is going to look for her now. You stay with Aunt Shu for a while, I'll be back soon. He only later realized that these terms of address were somewhat inappropriate. Before, he thought it didn't matter what the child called them, so he never paid it much attention. Suochen hurriedly ran out the door, searching everywhere, but he couldn't see Lin Shiran anywhere. She had never been like this. There was no hysterical questioning, no breaking down in tears. Just silently leaving, as if abandoned by the whole world. She had lost a lot of weight. It seemed that every winter, Lin Shiran would become extremely thin. During the 9 months of reunion, she finally came to life, preparing delicious meals for them in various ways and enjoying the family's time together. But now, this year is very different. Starting from that reunion dish that never appeared again, still, there were no more smiling faces coming closer. Everything was telling him that Lin Shiran had found out something. She was just heartbroken, unable to believe that it was actually true. She wanted to refute it, to prove it wrong, but she never expected that everything was indeed true. Suochen anxiously ruffled his hair. Back home, Shu Nianwei held her son in her arms. The boy clung to her as if they were truly mother and son. Shu Nianwei even joked around with her son. Sweetie, if both your moms fell into the river, which one would you save first? The son opened his big eyes wide, not hesitating for a second. Mommy, you. Shu Nianwei smiled triumphantly and gave him a kiss. Seeing this scene, Suochen felt an indescribable discomfort. How could they teach a child to say such things? Gradually, he had already instilled in his son the idea that Shu Nianwei was more important than Lin Shiran. He stepped forward and picked up his son, his tone turning cold. Nianwei, you should go back first. I'll contact you if anything comes up. Shu Nianwei was not satisfied and tried to find other things to say. Did your sister get upset and go out? It's fine. She'll be back in a few days. Just let me stay here a bit longer and spend more time with the child. The son celebrated with joy. This made Suochen even more uncomfortable. He shook his head, trying hard to suppress his negative emotions. No need, you should head back quickly. Shu Nianwei actually wanted to stay overnight. Suochen was completely enraged. I said no need, I want to be alone for a while. Only then was Shu Nianwei forced to leave, her eyes filled with obvious unwillingness. Suochen calmed down, looked at his son, and spoke seriously. You can't call Shu Nianwei Mom Shu anymore, you only have one mom, understand? The son still didn't understand. Why, I like calling her Mom Shu, Suochen patiently explained. Everyone only has one mother. For example, Dad only has Grandma as his mother. So you can't call two people mom, you have to choose one. Unexpectedly, his son spoke up. Then I want Aunt Shu, not Mom. Suochen was furious. Do you have a conscience when you say that? Your mother carried you for 10 months and gave birth to you. Didn't your school teach you how hard that is? The son was frightened into tears, but he explained the reason. Auntie Shu wouldn't make me take medicine every day, wouldn't nag me, and would let me play and sleep well. I hate Mom. Mother Shu said that if you truly love your child, you wouldn't make them unhappy. My happiness is what love is. Suochen clenched his fingers tightly. Xu Nianwei had long since led his son astray. What kind of thinking is this? Your mother gives you medicine to take vitamins. That's not real medicine. She nags you because she's afraid something might happen to you. Which child doesn't get nagged by their parents? If they didn't nag you, that wouldn't be love. Suochen felt his head was about to explode. He had never paid attention to these details before. Chapter 6. His son nodded in confusion. Those 3 months each year were the most relaxed for him. When he didn't have to do anything, he even thought, in an extreme way, that it would be better if his mother weren't around. Their family of 3 could live just fine. It was truly too ironic. Suochen smoked several cigarettes throughout the night and couldn't help feeling that the past few years had been somewhat absurd. He actually agreed to Xu Nianwei's proposal. Every year, despite eating mangoes he was allergic to and risking his life, he would come out and live with Xu Nianwei for 3 months. What on earth does this even mean? It was actually because Xu Nianwei was afraid of the cold and loneliness in winter, but he forgot that his wife had depression, which worsened in winter. Suochen made up his mind. He was going to set things right. He stayed up all night searching for Lin Shiran's whereabouts, wondering where she could have gone, especially since she was injured. He searched everywhere, but there was no trace to be found. His son finally began to feel a bit of regret. After playing for several months, he started learning his favorite game of Go from scratch, but he realized that without his mother's guidance, what had been neglected could never be made up for. In the past, as soon as he returned, his mother would continue to nurture him. This is how he earned the title of Go Prodigy. For the first time, he felt fear and couldn't figure out how to proceed. He also felt regret. If he hadn't gone to find Aunt Shu during those 3 months, perhaps things would have turned out differently. Soon, it was time for the Go tournament. The son looked toward the outer area, where only his father remained. The encouraging figure was no longer there. We'll tell him. It's okay, losing is just a learning experience. Mom will always be proud of you. The son nervously stepped onto the stage. The knowledge he had long prepared for suddenly escaped him, and he stood frozen in place for a long while, waiting until others urged him several times before he finally made a move in the game. As expected, he lost. Once the top performer, now he struggles to even make it into the top 10. His eyes turned red as he kept calling for his mother. Dad, where is Mom? I miss Mom. I don't want to go to Aunt Shu's place anymore. I want to find Mom. Xu Nianwei, who had just arrived, froze in place, her dissatisfaction clearly written on her face. Sweetie, is it something Shu Ma? Auntie Shu did wrong. How about I take you out to play? The son hid behind Suochen. I don't want to. I want Mommy. Suochen picked him up and left. Nianwei, don't come over during this time. We're waiting for Shiran to come back. She might misunderstand if she sees you. Xu Nianwei gave a bitter smile but still didn't say anything. Men are all the same. My son feels miserable all day long. Life without his mother is not as good as he imagined. He threw all the mango candies into the trash can, swearing he would never eat them again and would never go see Aunt Shu again. He changed everything from before and actually wrote about Lin Shiran in his composition. Mom, my mom is very simple and very nagging. Every day, she just nags about what I can and cannot eat. But I know now that she does it for my own good. There was a time when I felt a bit embarrassed because other kids' moms didn't ask the teacher like that. Only mine did, treating me like a porcelain doll. He wrote and wrote until tears fell. He wished he could burn all the old exam papers. That essay he once wrote actually became an outstanding composition. Suochen and his son were completely lost in memories. Their beautiful 9 months were overshadowed by the 3-month honeymoon phase. No. They were going to find Lin Shiran. Chapter 7. Leaving Suochen and my son behind, I wasn't as heartbroken as I had imagined. Indeed, the most painful winters every year were endured by me alone. So what else couldn't I accept? I no longer revolve around them, remembering who can't eat what. Every day when I wake up, I make myself a delicious breakfast. I'm not allergic. I can eat anything. In this short month, I've tried all the delicious food I could get my hands on. Life couldn't be better. Only my mother and I spent the whole day chatting with my mother. leaving only the two of us. Just when I thought I had completely severed ties with the past, Suochen appeared before me, finding me as nothing surprising. So I wasn't surprised either, just calmly communicated. Suochen's eyes turned red. Shiran. I was wrong. I paused, feeling a small ripple of emotion inside, but soon calmed down. It has nothing to do with me anymore. Seeing me like this, Suochen felt even more heartbroken. He had imagined many scenarios. Me hysterically questioning him, me begging him to leave Xunyanwei. But no, I was just that calm, as if everything had stopped. I really don't love you anymore, Suochen. Those days I regarded as salvation were nothing but their calamity. From that moment on, I completely gave up. My redemption can only come from myself. Suochen shook his head desperately. No, I just wanted to help Xunyanwei get through this difficult time. I don't want to be with her. And I have never cheated. Cheating. Perhaps he truly hasn't physically cheated, but he has long been emotionally unfaithful. He doesn't need to deny it. He enjoys the moments spent with Xunyanwei every winter, just like his son. He looks forward to some different kind of collision. She may be young and energetic, or full of little ideas, I'm not sure, but in any case, they've left a bold stroke in the canvas of their lives. I might be that background board. Only when I'm gone do they realize my importance, but I don't want to go back anymore. Suochen was almost breaking down, but he truly didn't know how to defend himself. He knows, what I said is right. It is through such activities every year that he gains happiness and a sense of freshness. There's no difference from those who keep a mistress behind the scenes. They find pleasure in their secret affairs. He went even further, using his son as a cover, risking their lives just to chase that thrill, but he truly regretted it. Shiran, let's start over. I won't do this again, okay? He was utterly humbled, completely uncertain in his heart. I shook my head. Many days later, I saw him again. By his side was his son, who also hadn't slept or eaten well. Mom. The past grievances echoed in my ears, and the image of him abandoning me for Shu's mother remained vivid. In the past, I truly loved him. He is the child I gave birth to after surviving countless near-death experiences, and the last gift my mother left me. Yet he also became the sharpest blade that wounded me the most. The two of them didn't want to leave either, so they settled next door to me. Every day, they bring me flowers and plants. It's so noisy, I couldn't stand it anymore, so I asked Suochen to meet and talk. You need to understand, we're not even legally married. You and I have no relationship. Got it? Don't show up in front of me again. Suochen was unwilling. I went to annul the marriage. And there will be a result soon. Wait for me. Don't be so cold. Hit me, please, and hit our son too. It's all my fault for leading him astray. I couldn't be bothered to respond. I never expected our son to use mangoes to beg me to come back. He ate the mango and started choking in front of me. Chapter 8. I quickly called for emergency help, and he managed to survive, crying and pleading with me. Mom, I really know I was wrong. I don't like Aunt Shu, and I won't be lazy anymore. I would save him, no matter who it is, but I really don't want to recall the past life anymore. If the heart is dead, how can one live again? Suochen promised. I will work hard to make everything go back to the way it was. They tried every possible way to please, with facades evident everywhere. Finally, Xunyanwei could no longer sit still. She stubbornly refuses to annul the marriage. Without my consent, you and I are husband and wife. Haven't you been living well with me? I care about you so much. Ichen, you know that. Suochen stepped further away from her. Get away, don't show up like this again. I have nothing to do with you. We must get a divorce. He went to handle this matter, considered various lawsuits. He wanted to prove the marriage invalid, but couldn't do it no matter how hard he tried. He and Xunyanwei willingly became husband and wife, and they lived together after marriage, even if he shouts in the courtroom. I was only there for 3 months. I was just acting with her. But the judge didn't listen, because Xunyanwei's claim was that they had consummated their marriage, making them a complete family. Even if Suochen had an affair and fathered an illegitimate child, she generously accepted the child and treated them as her own. The father and son couldn't explain themselves clearly, and only earned the contempt of the audience. What a scumbag. To separate from his original partner, He actually resorts to such underhanded tricks. Does he have no shame? She even accepted your affair, and you still want a divorce. Don't be so despicable. Sua Chen couldn't explain clearly. As someone had thrown a handful of paper scraps over his head, Xu Nianwei succeeded, and she happily linked arms with Sua Chen. I told you, you're mine for life. Sua Chen pulled away as if electrocuted. Get out. He could no longer hold back, roaring as he grabbed Xu Nianwei. You ungrateful bitch. I should have let you die in the hospital back then. Xu Nianwei burst into loud laughter. Anyway, none of you can leave me. Chen, you're all I have left. My family is gone, and you said I would always be your family. Why do you always break your promises? Sua Chen's eyes were almost popping out. You're just a rotten person. No wonder no one is around. Nobody wants you. Xu Nianwei refused to let him leave no matter what, determined to tie him down together. Her once affectionate son went up and bit her. Give me back my mom, you bad woman. Homewrecker. Xu Nianwei, however, laughed happily. You and I are on the same household register. You are my son, so how can you call me a homewrecker? The father and son fell into deep despair, knowing they had to fix the mess they had created themselves. Even so, the father and son still appeared before me. I also found the ultimate weapon. As long as you can get a divorce, I will go back with you. Sua Chen always lowered his head and sighed. I will, I'm trying. But often to no avail, and he would have to endure several more days of frustration before trying again. He and Xu Nianwei tormented each other beyond reason. Finally, he completely lost his patience and gave Xu Nianwei a severe beating. Don't push me, I'm telling you, I'd rather we both perish together than get a divorce, but Xu Nianwei had already gone mad. Even if I die, I want to be with you. I will never let you go. Sua Chen hadn't been seen for a long time. Chapter 9. Just when I thought he had given up, the news was released. Sua Chen couldn't hold back and ended up killing Xu Nianwei. He collapsed as if a heavy burden had been lifted. In his final moments, he did not forget to transfer his son's household registration. This way, he and Xu Nianwei would have no further connection. He did not want to be entangled with her any longer. Exhausted, he lay on the ground, feeling as if half his life had been drained away. It's all his fault. He called the police and turned himself in. Xu Nianwei looked at Sua Chen in disbelief before she died. I loved you so much. Why couldn't you be with me? Men are just cheap. You enjoyed those 3 months every year, but being with me every day became your shackle. Haha, neither Lin Shiran nor I won. We're both fools for liking someone like you. You don't deserve it. It was this one sentence that made Sua Chen decide to kill. It's all because of you. If you hadn't appeared in my life. But he knew Xu Nianwei was right. He was just being pathetic. He was unwilling to accept a monotonous life. Yet he didn't want to break away from his existing one. How can someone be so greedy? So he quietly awaited judgment. Just like that, Sua Chen was sentenced to death. All his assets were left to me and our son. I didn't want to take care of my son, but he was still young. And all the evidence proved he was my son. I had no choice but to bring him home. He no longer needs my attention. Every day, I highlight the allergy precautions in red and hang the sign on my backpack. He is unbelievably sensible. Mom, I was wrong. The lingering resentment in my heart remains, but I still nurture him with care, teach him to think again, teach him to distinguish right from wrong, what should be done and what should not be done. Many years later, he took over the company and got married. Always remember my teachings. And do not follow in his father's footsteps, and my life has been almost perfect. I tried everything I was afraid to do and also did a lot of charity work. My life has been full and vibrant. I can finally say it, I am very satisfied with my life. It is good that I am alive. The end. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.